17 million plus in terms of stores. And that's if you can get them. Because obviously we all know about the chip shortage, and that has led to some slowdowns in production. It's back to the larger question that we do entertain here often and should, which is about inflation and just how hot this economy is running.
Absolutely. The used car influence on the inflation number last month, I mean, everyone talked about that, how it was just completely outsized. New cars obviously get dragged up along with that. I think that's one of those things that economists, investors can kind of put aside into the truly transitory bucket. It should be self-correcting. Is Ford's production slowdown, which they've announced, is it going to kind of pinch, GDP numbers for the next quarter? I don't know. It hasn't seemed like it's going to. But all that stuff just shows you, Carl, it's a very kind of high friction economy right now for goods, pretty much across the board. I know there was some data out there that, supplier delays, delivery times are as long as they've been in like 40 or 50 years at this point in the ISM numbers.
Yeah, interesting. David Rosenberg this morning tweets that once the demand boom is over and supply comes back on stream, the demand downturn, guys, will cause inflation to morph into deflation. And we have had, if you look at UMich, Mike, 3 straight months of declining purchase intentions for cars and homes and appliances. And I mean, to a large degree, the huge school of investors who hope that this becomes self-correcting.
Right. I mean, there obviously was a pull forward of a lot of activity. Even home building has kind of rolled over a little bit from extremely strong levels because of all these constraints. That has the knock-on effects with appliances. So I do think we're in a little bit of a pause for a lot of that stuff that really went crazy, last year.
Yeah. Guys, still a lot to get to. We're going to zero in on Zoom when we come back, getting a lift on some better than expected results and upbeat guidance, although the slimmest beat on revenue since COVID began. We'll look at what's ahead for the stock and the work from home trade when Squawk on the Street comes back.
Okay, at AT&T, everyone gets our best deals on all smartphones. Let me break it down. You got your new customers, they get our best deals. You got your existing customers, they also get our best deals. Everyone gets the deals. Questions?
Got it. But why did you use a permanent marker?
Because I want to make sure you remember. I'm going to get a new whiteboard.
It's not complicated. Only AT&T gives new and existing customers the same great deals on all smartphones. Get up to $700 off our latest 5G smartphones.
Zero commission trades for online U.S. stocks and ETFs. And a commitment to get you the best price on every trade, which saved investors over $1.5 billion last year. That's Decision Tech, only from Fidelity.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 selling nerve care company. Nervive contains alpha-lipoic acid to relieve occasional nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort. Try Nervive Nerve Relief.
I think it is much more likely that this deal ends in tears. Unless Amazon is committing to leaving MGM alone, I think you're going to see a massive culture clash.
Owning and securing the supply chain for semiconductors is not just an economic issue, but also a national security priority.
You don't win the war on crime. You fight it every day. And it's going to be the same thing with cybersecurity.
The employers' recruiting is white hot. And then when we shift our view over to the job seekers, we see reluctance.
Looking to refinance your mortgage? The first thing you want to do, find out how much your home is worth. Just go to Ownerly.com, enter the address, and see the home value. Come to Ownerly.com and see what your home is worth for free.
Theoretically, my only job today is this. And to clean the house and find the plumber. So I use Thumbtack to hire whoever I need. I don't have to make any phone calls or give out my number. I can just book right in the app. Download Thumbtack today.
Finding local pros takes forever. Thumbtack fixed that. It's the app that finds people faster. We show you local pros in your neighborhood and price range, ready to help with pretty much anything. Download Thumbtack today.
This is Hannah, and this is Hannah getting her new BarkBox. It's got unique toys and all-natural snacks, curated just for her. And Hannah's BarkBox comes every month. To make your Hannah happy, go to BarkBox.com/TV.
Take a look at shares of Zoom Video, indicated up about 1.5%, actually recovering from an after-hours decline in the stock. The company posting better than expected revenue and issuing upbeat guidance, even as more people return to the office. Joining us now is Tyler Radke, software analyst at Citi. Tyler, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thanks. The big question surrounding this stock, a lot of the stocks like them that were huge beneficiaries last year, is just exactly how much of a pull forward of demand, how much of their total eventual addressable market have they now gotten to, and what's the deceleration going to be looking like, if any clues in the numbers and the guidance where you can now kind of handicap all those things?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is kind of the poster child of a tale of 2 years. I mean, Zoom had an unprecedented 2020. You saw growth north of 300% year over year at a multi-billion-dollar scale, essentially the fastest growing software company we've ever seen in history. If you look at the numbers for the back half of this year, by Q4, that growth is expected to decelerate close to just 20% a year, which would put this in kind of a more of a typical growth software company that you see, like the likes of Salesforce or a Workday. And so, our view is just that the stock's multiple may have a hard time correcting, as growth slows down and this kind of moves from a hyper growth stock to more of a growth at a reasonable price stock.
Right. So we're talking about a stock that's still trading, depending on the numbers, 70-ish times forward earnings. Where does it ultimately settle at, and how quickly do you think it could grow into that valuation?
Yeah, so I think that over time, investors are likely to triangulate on where this trades on free cash flow. So if you just look at the forward free cash flow multiple, Zoom trades at around 60 times, a little north of 60 times. The Salesforce, ServiceNows, Workdays of the world, those trade around 30 to 40 times. So we think that as growth decelerates, that multiple may have to recalibrate, which is why we are neutral rated on the stock.
There's a lot of talk about, trying to create a next act for Zoom, whether it's, an app store or different products, the kind of the phone solution. Is any of that going to be moving the needle enough to change the overall story in terms of, what's happening with the subscriber growth trends?
Yeah, so there's definitely some interesting things going on at Zoom in terms of new products. You've seen Zoom Phone off to a really good start. They've announced a number of marquee wins with tens of thousands of seats. Very, very impressive results. But I think the challenge is this company is pretty big, right? I mean, we're talking about a $4 billion revenue base. When new products are just starting off, almost no matter how successful they are, it just gets really hard to move the needle on a company that big. We think Zoom Phone, while it is growing much faster than the overall growth rate of the company, we still think it's less than 5% of the total company. So it just gets tough for those new products to move the needle.
I know you also cover DocuSign, which seemed to be in a very similar category. In fact, the stock charts, with Zoom, different magnitudes, but the exact same shape. So people seem to trade them as pure stay-at-home, work-from-home type plays. How sensitive are they going to be to what we actually see in terms of the percentage of people going back to the office and intensive usage of work-from-home type solutions? I mean, there's some school of thought that says nobody's going to cancel a Zoom subscription just because people are working 3 or 4 days a week in the office.
Yeah. So I would say that despite the similar stock charts, that DocuSign is actually in a different camp than Zoom. I think as the world reopens and obviously kids go back to school and businesses return to in-person activity, there is more risk that there is some elevated churn among Zoom licenses. And I think just the increased demand levels that they saw last year essentially pulled forward a ton of future growth. I think if you look at DocuSign, I don't know about you, but I don't look forward to signing paper-based agreements ever again, right? I think that future is here to stay. We're not going back to paper, where we may be going back to in-person meetings. And DocuSign at their most recent analyst day, essentially committed to growing at above COVID levels or above pre-COVID levels for the next 3 to 4 years. So I think there's just more sustainable growth drivers at DocuSign. They, like Zoom, are kind of the leader in the category. But I just think there's still so many paper-based, inefficient processes that can be digitized over the next several years as organizations pursue broader digital transformation.
Yeah, fair enough. Makes sense. And I know I think you do have a buy on DocuSign, Tyler. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Take a look at futures this morning. Despite the chop of the last few days, Dow's actually up 7 of 8. And even the small moves of the past few sessions have us at the highest level since May 10th. We're back in a minute.
How can entrepreneurs reframe our future? EY has gathered the best of these unstoppables from across the globe. From education to health, sustainability to technology, they are revolutionizing the world. Discover how they can reframe your future. Find out who will win the ultimate competition for entrepreneurs live on June 10th.
I'm Dad's greatest sandcastle and greatest memory. But even I'm not as memorable as eating Turkey Hill chocolate peanut butter cup ice cream with real cocoa. Well, that's the way the sandcastle crumbles.
You can't beat Turkey Hill memories.
Wondering what actually goes into your multivitamin? At New Chapter, it's innovation, organic ingredients, and fermentation.
Fermentation?
Yes, formulated to help your body really, truly absorb the natural goodness. New Chapter, wellness well done.
CNBC celebrates Pride Month.
As producers, we are part of a community where people will always be accepted, protected,
and understood.
All our different identities make something greater together. Pride is universal.
Meat producer JBS expecting most of its plants to be functioning normally today. That follows the weekend cyber attack, which temporarily hobbled its operations. Eamon Javers joins us now with more. Eamon.
David, we saw those operations really hobbled yesterday. They were down 22% in terms of cattle production versus a week ago. So you can see the immediate impact that this cyber attack had. But now the CEO of the company is saying that things are going to get back to normal. Here's the statement from last night referring to getting back up and running today. The CEO saying, given the progress our IT professionals and plant teams have made in the last 24 hours, the vast majority of our beef, pork, poultry, and prepared food plants will be operational tomorrow. That is today, Wednesday. Who's behind this? Well, a source confirms to me this morning that the group behind this hack is called REvil. They're a well-known Russian-linked hacking organization. Here's what we know about REvil. They hacked the Apple supplier Quanta computer a couple weeks back. They demanded a $50 million ransom in that case. They're made up largely of native Russian speakers, and they post their stolen documents on the dark website that they call Happy Blog. So they have something of a dark sense of humor about all of this. And law enforcement and intelligence know a lot about people who are in groups like this. This is video released by the National Crime Agency in Britain. These are alleged members of another hacking collective called Evil Corp. You can see them doing donuts in Lamborghinis and Audis in Moscow. This is how these hackers are spending their ill-gotten gains. This is what happens when American companies are sending these ransom payments to these hacking groups in Russia. This is Evil Corp doing donuts in Moscow back in 2019, video released by the British National Crime Agency, which said that this particular hacking group was an enormous threat to the United Kingdom. So we see some links between the criminal underworld and the Russian government, but it's not at all clear exactly to what extent Vladimir Putin controls these people, if he does, or if he's just allowing them tacitly to operate inside his borders without prosecution. Therefore, messing with the West in general terms. They're hitting our food supply, our fuel supply, as we've seen over the past couple of weeks. All of that now will be grist for the mill for Vladimir Putin and Joe Biden in their summit in Geneva, which is coming up later this month. A lot to talk about at that meeting, Carl.
Indeed, Eamon. It's that this is quickly rising to the top of the agenda in so many ways, and we appreciate your coverage, of course, Eamon, all over it as usual on this JBS story. Thanks. We'll take a break here. We'll get that opening bell in just under 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Tonight, inside the FDA debate over a new Alzheimer's drug. Plus, a long way to row from Brooklyn to London, all for a good cause. The facts, the truth, the news with Shepard Smith, 7 Eastern, CNBC.
So, who are ButcherBox members? We're multitaskers. We choose the highest quality meat to feed our families. We know time is precious, and we love saving it. We take care of the environment, and we support farmers who do things the right way, all while cooking a mean ribeye. When you choose ButcherBox, you're choosing to make a difference.
They're here. Seasonal favorites from Imperfect Foods, the grocery delivery service on a mission to build a better food system by offering imperfect foods that are still perfectly delicious, like fresh fruits and vegetables, meat and dairy, exclusive items you won't find anywhere else. And you can fill your pantry with all the snacks and grocery staples you need. With reliable delivery once a week, grocery shopping has never been easier or more responsible. Perfect.
Shop now. Get 20% off your first 4 orders with code PERFECT4 at imperfectfoods.com/TV.
This is more than just a building. It's an AI-powered investment firm with billion-dollar views. A cutting-edge data security enterprise. Yes, with a slide. A perfect location for the world's first 1-hour delivery. An inspiration for the next workout cult. And enough space for a pecan-based nutrition bar empire. It could happen. This is where dreams become brick and mortar. Find yours on LoopNet.
There's interest you accrue and interests you pursue. Plans for the long term and plans for a long weekend. Assets you allocate and ones you hold tight. At Thrivent, we believe money is a tool, not a goal. And with the right guidance, you can get the financial clarity you need and live a life rich in meaning and gratitude. To learn more, text THRIVE to 444-555 or visit Thrivent.com.
At Nuveen, we believe income investing can benefit both investors and communities. For over 120 years, our income-focused strategies have been building roads and bridges, hospitals and schools, and helping small and large businesses to grow. Investing to make an enduring impact on our world.
The opening bell is brought to you by Nuveen, a leader in income, alternatives, and responsible investing.
Energy still got.
Keep your eye on Etsy today. The company buying fashion reseller Depop for about $1.6 billion. Guys, it was interesting to listen to Josh Silverman on Squawk talk about it's not the e-commerce market, it's the re-commerce market where things are sold secondhand, growing at a huge clip. And I guess, Mike, a huge draw for younger consumers.
Yep. I was just talking over here. I'm a Depop household. I got 2 power users at home. And it is all, pre-owned stuff. It's thrifted, virtual thrift shop, and it's individual to individual. And what's interesting is when Poshmark went public not that long ago, which is, somewhat similar, but more branded stuff and newer stuff. My teenage daughters were like, no, that's for the old people. That's for millennials. And so this is that sort of inroads into the current moment of wanting, vintage stuff, somebody else's, the stuff from somebody else's closet, small ticket. Interesting bid by Etsy, though, because it does have that feel of like individual sellers is really the theme, and they build their own brands.
Interesting. They had that stock. They didn't use that, though. Largely cash for this deal. When you're paying over 20 times revenue, sometimes you think maybe you want to use your stock, but... Carl,
cash is free too right now.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. There's no doubt. Cash is not costing you a lot at this point. That's a good point.
Yeah. Guys, there's the opening bell, obviously. Brett at the open here. Interesting, Mike. We haven't had a chance to circle back on the first hour of trade yesterday where Dow popped 300, but I guess is that new month money that was just short-lived?
It was interesting. It was new month. Also, I think it had something to do with the fact that overseas markets were open on Monday. They were all up, and you had this little bit of a catch-up at the open, just a gap to maybe account for that. And what's interesting is it's been a pattern. I just saw some stats saying that over the last few days, the market has closed near its lows, kind of in the low end of its daily range, very narrow range, and yet we're sitting here, pretty much at all-time highs, within 1% of it. So it's a very unusual hovering act that the indexes are doing. It's happening through a lot of that rotation. Some of the smaller market cap sectors like energy up a lot. They have momentum, and yet, the bigger market cap stuff isn't moving too much right now. So that seems to be why we're in this little bit of a pause mode at the moment.
So what, energy and financials sort of powering the broader market?
On net, they have, yeah. Materials has been an amazing momentum story too, but it's really small.
Right.
So